Hey everybody, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy, and I'm an elite Dixie Belle retailer here in Ardmore, Alabama at the Rustic Willow. So you guys, hopefully I'm live. I'll give it a sec for everybody to jump on, but as you're coming on, just say hey, where you're watching from. We should have Dixie Belle on live with us tonight as well. And then also in the description, I do have a full product list of everything that we're going to be using. Got the affiliate link so you can find your local retailer or place an order online. And then also the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast Group, which is awesome if you're looking for inspiration. Some amazing artists on there. Hey Trish, hey Sheila. So with that being said, we can go ahead and get started. And I do have the link to my Facebook page. Got a sneak peek cover or posted today from last week's live if you want to take a look at that if you saw the live. And then tomorrow I'll have all the links with the video and all that good stuff, all the pictures posted. So anyway, tonight, so I had back surgery, so I'm still kind of working on smaller furniture here, but we're going to be working on this little table tonight. This is kind of more like a kind of a beginner paint your own piece type of thing. Hey Dixie Belle. So it's kind of like that, just something simple, how to get started, tips, tricks, stuff like that. So the only thing that I have done to this piece so far is I did go ahead and sand down the top. Used a 120 grit sandpaper to start off and then smoothed it out with the 220. So that's really the only prep I've done so far. I did clean this ring up here because I wanted to have that painted just so we can kind of try to get through all the steps as we go. So if I miss any comments, I'll come back and get those, but I'll try to pay attention to what's going on there. So the first thing that you want to do always, never changes, you want to clean your piece. And you want to use something that's specifically for paint. So with Dixie Belle, and this is the product I always use, is White Lightning. It's just a TSP-based solution. It's going to give you a little bit of deglossing, as well as, of course, get all the grime, buildup, whatever it is that has been on your piece of furniture. Sometimes you might have to do it twice. Oh, thanks, Dixie Belle. I'm just used to my thing is big dressers and stuff or buffets. So, but, all right. So we're going to start off with that. So this is, I don't know why I keep trying to open this. I already have it mixed up. It's a little, hold on. All right, so it's like a little crystal-like stuff is how it looks if you haven't seen it before. 2 tablespoons of this to a gallon of water. So this goes forever, you guys. My last one, and I do a lot of furniture. I've probably had it for a couple years. It's only $5.95, which is great compared to something you'll get at Lowe's that's more expensive and a lot less product. I think this makes 16 gallons. And the way I use it, which is how it's so conservative, is I mix it up and I put it in little spray bottles. You can use like an old Windex bottle, anything like that. And then I get these little green scrubbies. I get these little green scrubbies from like the Dollar Tree. They're bigger. I just cut them up to use them. And so we're just going to go ahead and just soak this whole thing here. And you guys, I did go ahead and paint this underside as well. I didn't want to have to do that while I was live, so I've already got that done and cleaned. So once you spray it on, you're going to do it really liberally. You're just going to scrub it down. And this wasn't too bad. It's been in my garage for a while, but you know, it's not super dirty or anything like that. I don't have a lot of buildup in the cracks and crevices. Sometimes if you have a piece with a lot of buildup like that, I will use like a firm toothbrush to kind of scrub it. But in this case, that's not really an issue. I'm just going around making sure I get everything clean and washed off here. And sometimes while you're doing this stuff, I usually like to look at my piece of furniture because you'll have some things that you didn't even notice, you know, that might be wrong that you need to repair. So this is always the first step before I do anything else. So I want to go ahead and get this residue off. And you guys, this step is so important too, because if you don't clean your piece, you've got a bunch of dust on it or something like that. The dust is not adhered, and your paint is only sticking to that stuff. And you know, over time, your paint is not going to adhere really well to the surface because it's not cleaned. And you guys, I did do these undersides here as well. I won't flip this over and paint those, the undersides on the legs. But I do that as well. Just because sometimes it's hard to get into all those spots. So once you've got all the residue off here, I'm just going to wipe it off my Lazy Susan right quick. But once you have all that residue off, so you can see kind of how it looks. Now, if you come out with a piece like this, or your paper towel looks just like somebody peed on it, I don't even know how to say it better, and that keeps happening no matter how much you clean it, that means it has bleed through, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. Oh, yeah. I know. I have so much in storage. It's crazy. All right. But this is super simple, you guys. This, usually I'm over the top, but this is so basic right here. It'll still look gorgeous when it's done, but it's definitely basic. I've got a little more water under these legs, so I'm just going to get that up. Or not water, but the white lightning. All right, so once that's done then, you want to rinse it down with water really well. So just go ahead and, hey, Robin. So just go ahead and spray it. I'm always really liberal on this as well. You want all that residue off. But now for this step, so paper towels are cheaper than shop towels, but I don't want any lint on my piece. Paper towels leave lint. So for this, we're just going to use shop towels. They're not going to leave any lint on here. And we're quickly going to just go ahead and wipe all that water off, dry it off. Make sure it's all good there. And like when you're on this step, your rag should not look, it should not look really nasty and dirty still. If it does, you're probably looking at a potential bleed through issue. So like right here, something I didn't notice about this little table, and this little table is wood. It's an Ethan Allen table, but I've got a little crack right here that somebody's repaired. So the reason I want to notice that is because if I'm trying to paint something with a really nice smooth finish, which is not what we're going to do here, by the way, if I was, that crack would be really evident once you paint it. So there's some, I mean, you could sand it a little bit better. They didn't do a great job, but I'm going to make that look like character. I want to spend a lot of time on something super small like this. So anyway, we've got it all washed off. Now I want to do a little Scuff Sand. It's, some of the finish is worn down, but it's not too bad. But some parts are still slick, so I just want to give it a quick Scuff Sand. I've got my rad pads. This is the medium grit. It's equivalent to like a 120. And all I'm going to do here is just go around here. I just want to rough it up a little bit. Give it something extra for the paint to adhere to. And you're probably thinking, you literally just cleaned this. Why are you doing it that way? So the reason I'm not Scuff Sanding first, because it seems like it would save you a step, is because if you Scuff Sand first, you guys, I don't think it's a huge issue, and I used to do it a lot. But when you have oils and stuff like that on the piece, it actually just kind of sands them down into the piece. So it could potentially be an issue. but, you know, you just want to clean it first and then do the Scuff Sand. So after the Scuff Sand, oh, I didn't mean to get my water. After the Scuff Sand, I've got all these little dust things on here. So I want those off because my paint won't adhere very well. So I'm just going to use a tack cloth, a little bit sticky, and go around here. I want to make sure I get in these grooves pretty well, just to make sure I'm getting all the dust off. And actually, I need to dry off my bottom piece here. Thankfully, this is light, so I can pick it up. So we're going to go through here. And I think I've got all the legs dusted off now. So you can't even hardly tell what I did. It's just given something, little roughness, nothing big, for that paint to stick to. All right, so now that we've got that done, you guys, this is going to be a quick little project, super easy to do at home. So I'm kind of moving right along, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip up to the top and go ahead and do a water-based stain on here, because if we get to it, I've also got a transfer we're going to put on it. So actually, I'm going to bring you guys in so you can see the top a little bit. This is going to be super quick too. You know, and these steps, I mean, this same thing applies to a furniture top, or I mean, like a dresser top, whatever. So I want to use a water-based stain because I'm using a transfer and I don't want to have to do a barrier and wait 3 to 5 days and all that good stuff. But I do want a walnut look. So I'm going to be using some Voodoo Gel Stain. We're going to use Tobacco Road, and we're going to use some Black Magic. So with these stains, they separate. I've got a new Black Magic here. See how it looks all really super watery up there? That's just the good stuff. All the stain or the color or the pigment sinks to the bottom. So when you get ready to use these, you want to shake them up really well. And my black is almost out. That's why I have the new one here. My little pop tops, they come with the little squeeze top though. They do, there we go. Mine are kind of clogged a little bit. And I actually got way too much of that stain on here. I'm so used to doing big pieces. So anyway, I know this one's clogged up, but it's almost gone. This is Black Magic because I want to get kind of a walnut look, but I also want it to be a little aged looking. So I'm just going to use my little spoon here, and I'm going to kind of mix these together. I've got a little bit much Tobacco Road, but just want it to be a little bit dark. And depending on how you mix these, you come out between like a walnut and an espresso, just depending on how much of each one you get in. Sometimes I like to streak it, and I actually might do that with some of the Tobacco Road plus the darker mix that I just made here. I'm going to wipe my spoon off because I'm probably going to need it here in a second. So we're going to do the stain with the blue sponge, and this is awesome for applying it. And I'm not worried about going over on this. I'm going to still have to touch this up. I just wanted to get that top on. I'm also going to age that out, so I'm not too worried either about getting a little of this stain on here. In fact, you can use this Voodoo Gel Stain like a glaze. Actually, I probably didn't want to do that, but I kind of wanted to see what it looked like. This is pretty fresh on top of here, so hopefully I don't wipe too much of it back. But like I said, I'm going to age this, so I'm just going to kind of use my overlap as a bit of a glaze there. And I probably shouldn't have stopped doing it. Must not be on Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that, you guys. My daughter was just calling. All right, so you just want to make sure, too, that you're going with the grain of the wood. and just running it back and forth. And, you know, I wipe mine back a lot, and a lot of times I'll do a second coat if I want it to look a little bit deeper. It's going to dry pretty flat, but that's where your clear coats come in, to give it whatever sheen you want to. And put a little bit more on this side to make it a little bit thicker. So now I'm going to go ahead and dab around the edges because, like I said, I want this to look a little bit worn. And when you dab, I'll bring you guys in for a close-up. But when you dab, you create just kind of a little bit of extra texture. You want to be kind of careful with this round sponge, though. You don't want to, and you don't have to dab. I just want to give it that aged look. You just want to be careful you don't leave rings from your round sponge. But that's it. And see how much stain I had left? Oh, thank you. All right, so I'm going to wipe this back here, but this is so you can kind of see kind of how that looks, some of that aging up around there that little dabbing gives it, makes it a little darker around the edges. Like I said, I'm going to age this out, so I'm really not caring about this overlap here. I'm going to get really nice around this ring because you'll notice here, I didn't paint great around this ring. I wasn't trying to be too worried about the line I was making. And that's because I'm going to go in that crevice with some, probably some wax, maybe a glaze. And you're not even going to see that. It's just going to look like a little bit aged. So I should have wiped some of this back earlier. Also, this is why you always, if I'm going to use something like this as a glaze, I normally always protect first because it's going to allow you to wipe it back a little bit easier. This has no protectant on it. It's pretty fresh. So it's reactivating the paint a little bit. And it's not quite as easy to wipe off. And I'm trying to actually make this look like I glazed it. I might be able to skip a step later and just go in that edge part. Do a little dabbing up here to fix that little extra. So that's it. This dries like in 15 minutes. If we have time, I'll actually be able to do the transfer. So now we're quickly just going to go ahead and get the bottom of this. And for that, I'm going to actually bring you guys down so you're close. You can really see what's going on. So I haven't been seeing the comments because I've been trying to get through this so quick. Hold on, let me raise you guys up. Well, maybe. There we go. So this way you can kind of get a better view here. There we go. Perfect. So now we've got the bottom. So just to talk, we're going to go straight into painting this. But while I actually paint this, because it's so basic, so easy, I am actually going to talk to you about primer, because I don't need a primer on this, but some pieces do. And so we've got Colonel Mustard here. I'm just going to take a little bit out. You guys, this paint goes such a long ways. Such a long ways. I literally got a spoonful. Oh, thanks, Trish. I did. You know what? I'm so nervous all the time. Even though I've been doing these for years, I'm still so nervous all the time. And then when I start working on my projects, I forget all about everything, and I get so into it. All right, so I've also got just a little dollop, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but got a little dollop here of pine cone. And that's because on the bottom here, you'll see I've got some nasty scratches and stuff. So I could have sanded that down. That's one way to fix that. Could have also kind of covered it with a little bit of Dixie mud. That would have worked as well. Again, small piece. I don't want to take time on that. I'm going to work it in so it's character. and I don't have to do a lot with it. So to talk primer, I'm going to start with the Colonel Mustard here. And, oh, sorry, before I do that, I've got a small round synthetic brush. And I like round brushes for spindles. It just makes it easier. I know some people will wipe with a, like with the sponge or like another type of cloth on a spindle, but I just like to use a brush. And I generally, you know, it looks terrible the first coat though when you paint a spindle this way, but it's going to come out super smooth after the second coat. But I just go around this way, spread my paint all around. I'm just looking for that coverage. I'm a super thin painter, you guys, so I really work my paint. This is a self-leveling paint too. So all of these brush strokes that you see, a lot of those are just going to clear right out. Makes it super easy when you're on a Lazy Susan. You just spin it around and there you go. I'm not too worried about getting in all the cracks and crevices because like I said, I'm going to age this out. I'm also not worried about texture because you guys, texture is awesome whenever you have something to cover up or you, this will come out smooth, but I'm going to actually add some texture on the bottom. But if you're aging it too, it gives a place for all of that like glaze or wax or whatever you're using to sink into those crevices. Makes it look gorgeous whenever you wipe it back, but it looks horribly ugly when you're at this stage. I've got to paint these little things up here too, but you know what? I'll do that after I get off the live. Let's go ahead and just finish painting this up. You guys were doing so good on time, I actually might get to that transfer. So I will do, by the way, I will do 2 coats on this. And get into those little, so you can see that crack becomes even more pronounced when you put paint on it. Paint doesn't even things out. Actually makes them more visible in my opinion. So that's why if you don't want to fix them, it's great to work it in. While I'm doing this though, primer. So I didn't use any primer on this. And there's 2 types of primer. You have a bonding primer that's going to help your paint stick. And then you also have a blocking primer that's going to block like tannins in the wood, markers, specifically those horrible pink felt marker things. They're terrible. They bleed through. Certain woods bleed a lot, like cherry. It gives you like a really red look. Oak, pine knots, mahogany is usually a big bleeder. Things that the wood where the finish is already worn off, those are bleeders. So in that case, you would want to use 2 coats of Boss. It comes in 3 different, a clear, a gray, and a white. So you can pick which one's going to work best with your final color. And so that's that. So I don't really need that for a couple different reasons. One, all except for these feet, the protective barrier between the wood and the paint is still pretty much intact. So I'm not going to have to worry there. Also, I'm painting this Colonel Mustard and I'm going to age it out. So if I get a little bleed through here and there, it's not going to matter because I'm going to be able to work it in to make it look like it's part of the aged piece. So that's why I did not use it. Also, this particular wood is not a huge bleeder anyway. So it's very unlikely that I would have any issues with bleed through here. If I was doing this in white, I would probably use Boss just to be on the safe side. Because one, I always never want to age white when I get done with it. Even though I think I'm going to. It's just a thing. So that's one. but also, I don't know, it just looks different with white. It comes out more yellowed. So I would have used Boss if I was going to be going with white or something like that on here. You know, like cotton fluff, buttercream, anything like that. So then also there is a slick stick, which is a bonding primer. Makes your paint stick. You can use it on like glass, plastic. A lot of tables like this are that they're not wood, they're laminate. They're kind of cheap laminate little tables. Those definitely want to use some slick stick on so that you can, you know, make sure that your paint is sticking. So we're going to come back and do 1 foot here in just a second with that shading to cover up, kind of help build in the, you know, all these scratches and dings down here to make it look like character. So, like I told you, on here, I'm not that concerned. I'm going to paint these underlegs later. But on here, I'm not so concerned about these. I didn't bother to fix them because I'm going to put in a little shading with pine cone. I'm going to be using a premium chip brush here. And we're just going to lift this up. And I'm going to start, I got a lot of paint, more than I probably wanted or meant to get. So we're going to start working some of that in over here. Sorry, I got my paintbrush in my mouth. It's a terrible habit. So that was more than I wanted, but that's okay. It's just paint. We're going to come back, and I'm dabbing. The reason I'm dabbing is the dabbing is creating texture. So that's going to help whenever I come back and age this. It's going to help these feet kind of blend in and cover all those little dings. If I glaze, I don't know if I'm going to glaze or wax. I'll probably end up glazing. I love glaze around the rings and stuff like that. So you just kind of paint in a little bit of a shading color here. Hopefully you can see that. It doesn't look like much yet, but as you layer on, it's going to cover up those little imperfections. And like I said, I don't have coverage. This is my first coat. So I'll quickly do another coat later once this dries. And then I'll be able to protect and wax or whatever. But that's why I didn't need primer. Hopefully I got everything in there. Why I didn't need primer on this piece. But situations where you would want to use a primer there. So that's it. Another thing, if I wanted to distress this coat, even though the coverage isn't good, if I was going to hit this with the sander and distress it, this one coat would really be fine. It would give it a really nice, cool, aged look, and you'd be all set. So you guys, we still have like 15 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and pop a transfer on here. I'm going to raise you up a little bit. And by the way, look how much paint. That was a spoonful, and I have way too much paint. Like I said, I'm used to doing much larger projects. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys back up here. And then, hold on, I don't want to knock everything off because I'm so unorganized. Oh, sorry. Let me drop it back down so you can get a good look at the top. Yep, I mean, we fit a whole ton into this. This is how easy it is, though. You know, I feel like this is something super cute, like in a sunroom, like using as a plant stand, anything like that. Let me go ahead and put my water in the brushes. And so, I really never thought I was going to get to this point. I didn't think it was going to go that fast. But what I want to do is just add a little sunflower, something over here coming off the side just to give it a little something extra. And this is the sunflower transfer. I would love to show it to you. It's 3 sheets, but again, I literally have scraps. You know, before I started really using transfers and stuff like that, I never really realized how far they went. I have done so many projects with this one transfer. You know, it used to be, I thought, well, I can't justify spending $30 on an extra piece, like a piece of furniture like this, you know, or something like that. That's just too much into the cost if you're selling it. But these things go forever. This transfer has paid for itself like 1,000 times. I swear I've done probably at least 7 projects with this, maybe. It's a lot. All right, so I'm just kind of seeing what I've got here. And there's different kind of, I've got tape all over these. I must have been, I don't know what I was doing. So I'm just kind of, ooh, this is a pretty one that would, oh, that one would look really pretty on here. That's really awesome. Looks great with the Colonel Mustard too. I feel like I might want to layer 2 in, so let me just see what else I have. Oh, this one would be pretty too. So if I did this one kind of like right here, and then I kind of cut this one off. Oh, I don't think I brought my scissors in here. That is not a good thing. I knew I was forgetting something when I set this up. Oh, I did. And the scissors are one of those things too that I can never ever find. So, well, that's a bad. Okay, hold on, you guys. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can grab. Found a pair. Perfect. I have 1,000 pair of scissors, but I can never find them. So here we go. Scissors. All right, so I want to put this one in first because I want this one to be kind of my background. And I think I want to put it like right here. So what I'm doing is I'm just scoring this part of my transfer so that when I take it off, can you guys see that line a little bit? See that? When the light hits it just right. It creates a little line going right around here that I can cut along. So I'm going to do that right quick. So you guys, in 45 minutes, we've almost done like a full project. So this doesn't have to, a lot of my projects take a long time, but you can create something super cute without, you know, without much time. And the cool thing about the Voodoo Gel Stain being water-based, I think I want to do it going against the grain. Yeah, I think so. Yep. Another cool thing about this being water-based, I don't want to do it on the side. I messed up over there, though. Is that you can put a transfer on it pretty much as soon as it's dry. With paint, you want to wait like 24 hours so it gets time to harden and everything. The Voodoo Gel Stain, you can do it as soon as it's dry. So you can see it's just right along that edge. So we're just going to go ahead. I need to move you guys over more. I think my arm's in the way here. There we go. All right, so comes in 2 pieces. We're just going to go ahead and pull it off the back. You want to be careful that it doesn't fold over on itself because this is sticky and it'll mess up the transfer. All right, so we're going to go ahead, put it right down here. Oh, I love that. That looks so gorgeous with the Colonel Mustard too. And with this stain, it's gorgeous. And all that little darkening around the edges, the way that the sunflower is, it just looks, the sunflower is shaded much the same way, so it really brings it together. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just making sure I've read the whole transfer down. I'm not trying to release it yet or anything like that. I just want to make sure that there's no bubbles in it or anything there. And then as I start to pull it back, the quick way to get this to release is as you're pulling, rub it over the spot that you're pulling back. And it will release so much easier. If you just rub and then try to pull, it's not going to release this way. If you do have trouble with releasing your transfer, you can use heat gun, or if you don't have a heat gun, you can use you guys, my lazy Susan is moving. So it's kind of hard to hold. I'm trying to hold it with my elbow and then pull this back at the same time. But you can use a heat gun to release the glue. It'll bubble though if you put too much heat on it. So if you're not accustomed to it, just add it with a hair dryer. You're pretty safe there. So we're just coming to where the whole transfer part is going to peel back. So you want to be kind of careful as you're pulling this up to make sure that you don't rip the transfer before it fully releases. So I'm just going to burnish it a little bit with my finger. Make sure it's nice and rubbed down. There's kind of a little halo around them, but you want to make sure that's rubbed down. And then I will come back and burnish it also with a finishing pad. Well, I'm pretty sure I just leaned over. That's like not what I'm supposed to be doing now. But you know when you get to that point after surgery where it doesn't hurt, so you forget and do things you're used to? That's kind of where I'm at. But the finishing pad here, just want to rub along. It'll take some of that halo off a little bit. And that's perfect because it's going to make it kind of more invisible. And then when you add your protectant, it all but disappears most of the time. So there we go. We've got that sunflower on. And then, let's see here. Which one did we... I think I lost the other one we were going to put on. Wonder how those would look. That might look kind of pretty on here. But usually smaller flowers you want to put in the background just from a design perspective. Things in the foreground are usually larger. So let me see if I can find that other piece I just had. Because see, these are different design sunflowers. So they're kind of a variety here. So I'm kind of looking for these more yellow ones. With similar leaves. And I have definitely lost the other one I wanted to layer in. Oh, here it is. I set it off to the side. Of course I did. So you guys, we're almost out of time. I haven't seen any questions or any comments really. So you guys, if I'm missing them, I'll go back right after the live and take a look. If you guys think of a question, you can message me. I'll be posting this to my page, I'm sure this week. It'll be finished right away. So I've just scored this one again. And, you know, sometimes these are hard to see, so I do like to use, like this one's really hard. I'm going to score it again. Sometimes I do like to use a Sharpie to just line out where I want to cut when I score it. There we go. That one's much better. We're just going to cut that. Let's go ahead and layer this right over the top. And there we go, perfect. And same thing, we're just gonna rub it down. I try to go like in one direction. I don't work from the outside in on a transfer, especially a larger one. That's really important so you don't get those air bubbles. If you do get air bubbles, you definitely want to pop them with a pin so you don't end up with your transfer peeling back or anything like that later. You don't want moisture getting under it, nothing like that. So let's go ahead. We're just going to pull up that edge. And I love this sunflower transfer. I love flowers, you guys. So anything with flowers. Here. So we are almost done releasing it. there we go. So that's it. Just a couple little sunflowers. Give it a little more interest up here. Same thing. I'm going to rub it down. By the way, if you're layering transfers too, I will burnish. Oh, thanks, Trish. I will burnish in between each layer. Because if part of this isn't stuck down, rather than my transfer releasing and sticking on top, it's possible that this transfer could actually pull back a piece of the original that wasn't stuck down. So that's why I always burnish in between layers. You know, and I love these transfers too because they are so much more opaque than some other ones that I have used. So when you're layering, unless it's like white, you don't see like what's behind it. See what I mean? So you can see how good that looks. Halo, just like not even existent. And like I said, the halos go down after you put a protectant on them as well. So now all I will do with this piece after this is put the second coat on the bottom. I'll protect it and then I'll either put a wax or glaze on it. For the protectant, I always go with a clear coat just for durability because I sell furniture. But you could do like a clear wax and then a dark wax over it. It'd still be able to wipe it back more so. If you want it like really, that antiquing to really, really show up and not a lot of control, you can put it straight on here and that can be your protectant as well. I don't do that because I like a little more control. I like to be able to wipe it back. I don't want it to sink right into my paint where I put it. But that's it, you guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. And like I said, I will go back and look at any comments. In the link in the description, you can follow me on Facebook so that you can see the final piece, as well as I've got other videos, and I'll be going back live on my page as well next month. Oh, thanks, Trish. So thank you guys so much. You guys take care. Have a great week. And I think that's it. Bye, Dixie Belle. Thank you.